I know the storm frightened you. I know you wondered why I allowed it to come at all. You had finally found a rhythm, a fragile peace you clung to, and then everything shifted. The winds rose, the waters roared, and the silence you once heard was suddenly drowned in chaos. But listen to me, not every storm is an attack, not every shaking is punishment. Some storms are sent, and others are allowed. And when I allow the storm, it's never to abandon you. It's to bring you closer, to awaken what your comfort kept asleep, to purify what your routine kept hidden. You've been asking me to grow you, to draw you deeper, but you didn't expect the path would include this. You didn't know the answer. To your own prayer would feel like loss before it looked like growth. But child, growth is rarely silent. Transformation is often disruptive. You can't become who I designed you to be without some breaking, without some wind stripping away what you thought you needed. I allowed the storm not to destroy you, but to reveal what you were standing on, because you had built part of your life on sand, and I love you too much to let you stay there. The storm exposes foundations. It unmasks what routines conceal. It shows you what your strength truly is and what it is not. And most of all, it draws your eyes back to me in a way peace never could. I did not disappear in the storm. I am the one who speaks to it. I am the one who walks on its waves. I am the one who sleeps through it, not out of neglect, but out of authority. You feared the waves, but the waves still answer to me. You feared the darkness, but even the darkness is as light to me. You asked, where are you? I was right there in the stillness of your heart, waiting for you to look beyond the surface. Not for me to rescue you from the storm, but for me to reveal myself to you in the middle of it. Because if your faith only stands when the skies are clear, then it is not anchored in me, it is anchored in ease. I allowed the storm so you could discover that your anchor holds even when the waters rise, that your worship still matters even when your hands are trembling, that your prayers carry weight even when your voice is weak. Do you understand now? This storm didn't come to curse you. It came to cleanse, it came to strip, it came to align. You had grown comfortable with certain distractions, certain relationships, certain compromises. You didn't see how they quietly pulled your soul away from me, but I did, so I let the shaking come. Not to destroy what's valuable, but to remove what's counterfeit. I let the storm touch what you thought you needed, so you would see that I alone am your provider. I let it disrupt what you were clinging to, so you would cling to me instead. You've asked me to be your everything, so I'm removing everything that tries to take my place. You see devastation, I see foundation. You see loss, I see clearing. You see confusion, I see clarity being born from the pieces of false stability. Beloved, I will never leave you in ruins, but I will allow what cannot stand to fall so that what remains is rooted in truth. And do not forget, even storms have boundaries. Even winds obey my word. Even waves stop when I say, peace, be still. There will come a moment, a breath, when all will quiet again. And when it does, you will not be the same. You will have seen me not just as your savior, but as your sustainer. Not just as the God who rescues, but the God who refines. The storm is not your enemy, it's your mirror. It shows you what lives inside, what fears still whisper, what beliefs still bend, what truths still need rooting. And I am in all of it, forming, teaching, strengthening, because this storm will pass. But what I build in you through it will remain. You will look back and bless the winds that drove you closer. You will thank the waves that taught you how to stand. You will honor the silence that deepened your hearing. This is not the end. This is the unveiling, the shifting, the invitation to deeper waters. I am calling you to trust me not only when I calm the storm, but when I let it rage just long enough to awaken your soul. I see you, clutching the sides of the boat, terrified you'll sink. But look again, you're still afloat. Because I am in the boat with you, and if I'm in it, it cannot go down. It may shake, it may leak, but it will not drown. You are not going under, you are going through. And through this your faith is being made mature, not shallow, not circumstantial, but strong, tested, real. I will restore what the wind removed, but only what aligns with my will. I will rebuild what the storm dismantled, but only on rock, not sand. Let me do it. Let me rebuild you. Let me remake your hope, your vision, your rhythm of faith. And as you stand again, you will do so not in fear but in fire, not in anxiety but in authority. Because you will know me not just as the God of mountaintops, but the God who walks in the middle of the deepest storm. The storm has passed, but something within you remains quiet. Not the silence of fear, but the stillness that comes when your soul finally knows what it means to be held. You are standing now, not because the winds gave you mercy, but because I sustained you, and where there was once panic, there is now peace. Not because the sea grew calm, but because I calmed you first. This is where I begin to build, not in the moment of chaos, but in the clarity that follows it. You are not who you were before the storm. You have been reshaped, and though much was taken, what remains is what I will use. Let me establish you now, not on shifting emotion, but on eternal truth, not on temporary strength, but on my spirit within you. The waves didn't just wash away what wasn't of me, they made space for what is holy, for what is lasting, for what is worthy to remain. You once asked for strength, and I allowed shaking. You once asked for wisdom, and I gave you waiting. You once asked for purpose, and I brought the storm to reveal what could not be seen while you were distracted by comfort. Now I plant your feet, not in shallow soil, but in ground softened by surrender. What was once hard in you has been broken, open not to harm you, but so I could plant truth deeper. This is how I build my people, not in the absence of pain, but through it. Not in the protection from trouble, but in perseverance within it. Because only those who are rooted can carry my purpose without crumbling. So I say again, stand. Not in your name, but in mine, not in your ability, but in the covering of my will. Let me establish you, let me anchor you, let me set a foundation beneath your feet so firm that no future storm can shake it. Because the storms will come again, not to break you, but to remind you that you are not building alone. I will not allow you to return to the way you used to live, tossed by every opinion, swayed by every emotion, dependent on circumstances to define your confidence. That person died in the storm, and what lives now is who I always intended. Not perfect, but willing, not without wounds, but full of wonder, not flawless, but faithful. You've walked through deep waters and have come out marked. You've prayed in darkness and found me faithful. You've given me your fears and received back something eternal, courage birthed in communion. This is your new beginning. Not one built on rush or striving, but on stillness and revelation. You now know that I am not just the God of safe places. I am the God of shaking, of shifting, of sanctifying, and I remain the same in the winds, in the wreckage, and in the rebuilding. I am giving you new eyes to see what matters, to discern what to carry and what to release. Because not everything that survived the storm is meant to walk with you into this new season. Let go of what no longer belongs. Let go of what the storm exposed but your heart still clings to. Let go of what was comfort but not covenant. You are stepping into a place where clarity will feel like confrontation, where truth will cost you the approval of others. But this is part of being established, not just emotionally, but spiritually. I am aligning you with my will. Not your preference, but my plan. Not your timeline, but my perfect purpose. Because what I have for you cannot be built in haste. It requires depth. It demands purity. It calls for obedience. This is what storms prepare, not platforms, but altars, not stages, but surrender. You will not walk forward with fragile faith. You will move in the strength of someone who has been through fire and learned how to rest in me. No longer will fear rule your decisions. No longer will anxiety speak louder than my promises. No longer will compromise feel acceptable in the name of survival. Because now you know who you belong to. Now you've seen what it costs to walk with me in truth. Now you've tasted the kind of peace that only comes after obedience, and I will build upon that, not just in moments of worship, but in the quiet places of your life where no one sees. That is where true transformation is sealed. Let me seal it. Let me settle you. You don't need to run anymore. You don't need to perform. I have seen your tears. I have heard your questions. I have felt your ache, but I did not waste any of it. Every sigh, every silent prayer, every moment you chose me even when you didn't understand. I recorded it all, and I am now using it to root you deeper. I will establish you as an oak of righteousness, not a reed swaying in opinion, not a vessel driven by reaction, but a tree planted by living waters, unmoved by drought, unchanged by season, fruitful in stillness. This is my will, that you grow strong in me, so I may entrust you with what your former self could not carry. You were not ready before, but you said yes in the middle of the storm. You surrendered when surrender cost you everything. And now, I will pour into you what can only be poured into empty hands. This is not the time to look back. Not to what was. Not to who you were. Not to what didn't survive. Look ahead. I am doing a new thing. Do you not perceive it? I will make rivers in the wasteland. I will open doors you didn't know existed. I will draw near in ways you've never experienced. And you will walk in places your former self couldn't dream of entering. Because now you carry not just my name, but my nature. You've been marked by fire, by storm, by obedience. And that mark is not a wound, it's a seal. I have established you for more than survival. I have planted you for impact. Do not hide what I've revealed. Do not silence what I've ignited. This peace in you, it is not fragile, it is fierce. Let it speak. Let it witness. Let it grow, because when I allow the storm, I also send the promise. When I shake what can be shaken, it's so what cannot be shaken will remain, and what remains now is pure, is proven, is powerful. You have been through the winds. You have stood in the silence. You have trembled in the shaking, and still you are here. Not because of your strength, but because of my grace. Not because the storm was easy, but because I was faithful. This is where we begin again, not with questions, but with revelation. Now you understand. I never allowed the storm to harm you. I allowed it to call you, to separate the false from the true, the temporary from the eternal, the noise from my voice. And now, in this stillness after the storm, I am giving you more than comfort. I am giving you clarity. I am showing you who you are in light of who I am. You are not the wounded one. You are not the drifting one. You are not the one who was left behind. You are the one I pulled closer, the one I whispered to in the chaos, the one I chose again and again. Even when you could not see me, this is what the storm revealed, that you are mine, that when everything else was stripped away, you still clung to me. And that is why I now call you, not just to healing, but to purpose, not just to survive, but to lead. Yes, lead. Not from pride, not from a platform, but from a place of humility that was carved by surrender. You carry what others can't see. The strength of someone who's walked through fire and came out refined. The wisdom of someone who no longer speaks just to be heard, but to release what's been planted in stillness. I've built in you something unshakable, a life that doesn't depend on applause, a faith that doesn't shrink in silence, a heart that hears me even when no one else understands. And now, I say, rise. Not as the one recovering, but as the one restored. Not with timid steps, but with holy confidence. You have my permission to move forward, to speak what I've placed in your spirit, to build what I whispered to you in the dark, to live from the place of encounter, not performance. Because what the storm removed, I am replacing with something eternal, not just lessons but legacy. That the peace I've given you was never meant to be hidden. It is meant to go with you into every place I send you. There will be moments when the winds rise again. There will be days when shadows try to return. But now you know you are not powerless. You are not a victim of your surroundings. You are a carrier of my presence. You do not walk into storms afraid. You walk in knowing you have already overcome, because you walk with me. Do not diminish what I've done in you. Do not reduce your process to something small. It was sacred. It was real. It was holy ground. You did not just make it through. You emerged, transformed, anointed, humbled, prepared, and now you carry a sound not of desperation but of authority, not of pride, but of purity. This is what the enemy feared, that you would survive, but you would still believe, that you would still sing, that you would still trust me, even when everything tried to break you. And now that you do, heaven rejoices, hell trembles, because a life surrendered is more powerful than a life untouched. You will walk with clarity, you will speak with fire, you will love with depth, and you will move with discernment. You do not need to chase opportunity. I will bring it to your feet when your heart is ready. You do not need to seek validation. My voice over your life is the final word. Let me continue to establish you. Let me teach you how to carry peace in chaos, how to lead without striving, how to stand without noise. The world needs what you carry, not your perfection, but your process, not your control, but your communion. Let them see what surrender looks like. Let them see how I heal, how I rebuild, how I restore. You were not disqualified by the storm. You were qualified through it. It trained you. It softened you. It made you dangerous to the darkness and powerful in the light. And now walk, move, sing again, pray again, dream again, not from pain, but from the new place I've built in you. You are not walking in circles anymore. You are moving forward in alignment with my will, and in this next season, you will not repeat cycles. You will reap what was planted in obedience. You will see the harvest of every silent yes, every unseen prayer, every midnight surrender. I am not done. I am just beginning, and I delight in what I'm building in you, so hold your head high. Not in pride, but in confidence that the storm served its purpose. It didn't define you. It refined you. You are rising with me. You are standing on me, and you are carrying the fragrance of someone who has been with me. That is enough. That is everything. Let the world see what I can do with a heart fully yielded. Let the world hear the sound of someone who has nothing to prove, but everything to reveal. My love, my faithfulness, my glory. You are ready, and I am with you every step. This is why the storm was allowed.